moving. I'm happy to oblige. Hold just a moment.
You know, I've been into games since I was 4 years old, and I don't think I've ever disagreed more with traditional reviews for a game than I do with Dragon's Dogma 2. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's talk about the game first. Dragon's Dogma 2 is a follow-up to the cult hit Dragon's Dogma. Why is it a cult hit? Well, it had a very vocal following when it released way back in 2012. Since then, it's sold almost 8 million copies. On one hand, that sounds like a lot. On the other hand, those are lifetime sales since 2012 for a game that has frequently been discounted to €5 or less. By all accounts, Dragon's Dogma 2 feels more like a do-over than a sequel. Sure, the game is called Dragon's Dogma 2, however, there is no continuation of the story from the first game. Even the title screen only says Dragon's Dogma. In summary, you're not missing out if you skip the first game. Dragon's Dogma 2 is a medieval fantasy action RPG. That means knights, villages, gear with stats, dragons, goblins, the whole shebang. You are an Arisen, which basically means a dragon took your heart. You have to save the land and defeat the dragon. As almost a cliche of the genre, you start out with your character having lost his or her memory, and you go from there. I am 10 hours into the game, and yep, that is what I have for you. The story is definitely not the center of attention here. Instead, the game is at its best when the gameplay is front and center. The best story is the one you make when you walk around and explore. You never feel like your time is wasted, and you always feel rewarded for walking off the beaten path. There's always a treasure chest, a collectible, perhaps a cool monster inside that cave you walked into. A really cool feature that makes Dragon's Dogma 2 stick out is the pawn system. You can have 3 pawns with you. This is not a multiplayer game, this is only single player. That honestly feels like a bit of a missed opportunity, but it is what it is. Anyways, you have these 3 pawns with you. One is your main pawn. That is a character that you built, and that character is always with you. You can choose his class, you can change his loadout, you can upgrade him, set his skills, gear, all that jazz. He also levels up with you. Then you have an additional 2 pawns. These are hired. They do not level up, and they are either made by Capcom or other players. When you hire other players' pawns, they can go back to their own player and share with them where you found an item, or give hints they learned about quests.
The items on this list can be crafted by combining certain materials, and I happen to know where they can be found.
It's a really cool and interesting mechanic which really gives Dragon's Dogma 2 a feeling of community. Now, when it comes to the graphics, I'm a bit torn on the game. On one hand, the game can sometimes look downright gorgeous. On the other hand, sometimes you get shit like this. Or this. And this brings me to some of the gripes I have with the game. My immediate reaction to Dragon's Dogma 2 after playing a few hours was that this video was going to be me shitting on the game for 5 to 10 minutes. But honestly, that is not completely fair. The fighting feels great and gives lots of options with different classes. The pawn mechanic is unique, and the game rewards exploration. If you want an action RPG with a fantasy setting and just want to explore and do your own thing, this is that game, and I'm sure you will love it. And I want to love this game, I really do. But the negative search is too great for me, and oh boy, here we go. The beginning of the game is incredibly boring and standard. I have written 3rd grade school papers with more fleshed out characters than Dragon's Dogma 2. There is absolutely no one here to give a shit about after 10 hours of playing the game. The pawns will repeat the same lines endlessly over and over again. If you just kind of pass the same ladder a couple of times within a few minutes, a pawn will tell you about it every single time.
Tis a ladder. we see where it leads?
We get it, dude. There is a ladder. Guess what? It's still there in 2 minutes. The switch between cutscene graphics and in-game graphics on PC is jarring, and I'm on a very modern rig with high-ish settings. And the fact that for every single line of dialogue the game has, you have to click a button to continue the conversation. Like, wow, here is an important piece of dialogue that is really important, yet the guy talking is just standing there, talking to you, waiting for you to click a button so he can continue his story. Overall, the atmosphere in the game it's just not there. Let me show you what I mean. This is The Witcher 3. This was released 9 years ago. That is almost a decade, okay? As you see, the game is vibrant and colorful. It has great atmosphere. In this market area, you'll see people talking to each other, drunks walking around, people in misery and pain. Now, look at this marketplace from Dragons Dogma 2. Now go ahead, tell me how exciting this game looks. Is it a marketplace or a close-up shot of the asshole of a Chernobyl survivor? I guess we'll never know. And honestly, I'm not even mad at the game. I'm just mad at all the potential here that feels wasted. We have not even started talking about the technical issues yet. As reported by several outlets, the game on PC will tank anywhere with lots of non-player characters. In the marketplace we just saw, I dropped from nearly 100 frames per second to sometimes dipping below 30. I'm assuming Capcom is aware of this problem, as they have not tried to lock the frame rate on console at all. On PC you can lock it in the options menu, but that is of course needless with performance like this. Also, files for implementing DLSS 3 has been found and modders have turned it on. Did Capcom plan to add it and then just decided against it very late, or what happened? Heck, the game even tells you that you cannot trust its autosave system. Hey Capcom, why didn't you just allow for multiple saves and not just one autosave? Isn't that quite standard in RPGs? Skyrim did it, and that released back in 2006 on the Xbox 360. That is almost 20 years ago. I lost my virginity that year. High School Musical came out that year. Let's move on, Capcom. And this brings me back to what I said way back in the start of this video. I rarely disagree as much with reviewers as I do with Dragons Dogma 2. How the heck is the average critic review score above 85? Are we playing the same game? How can it not matter that the game is broken in several ways, that it has a boring story, that the performance is bad at times, and that hey, the game save system is so bad that the game itself warns you against it? I'm honestly baffled. But you know what? Maybe you want a game like this with adventure and an open world. Perhaps you will be picking it up on sale, or heck, perhaps you completely disagree with me. If so, I would love to talk it out in the comments and engage with you guys. Let me know what you think. If you made it this far into the video, leaving a like is a great way to support more content. Good vibes are always free. For me personally, with the state the game is in right now, I cannot recommend it. And if you're interested, I think you're better off waiting for a sale. There are just so many games out there right now that are definitely worth your hard-earned money and time. One such game is Elden Ring. A few weeks back, I checked out the Convergence mod in anticipation for the upcoming expansion we are getting this summer. If you want to check out that video, you can click right here. You can also subscribe for more. And hey, have a fantastic day.